You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! Colonel Jackson, did you order the Code Red? You don't have to answer that question. I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
That question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! Colonel Jessup, did you order the Code Red?
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Peace. What's good? What's good, kings and queens? What's good, kings and queens? Woo! Took a lot out of me today. I didn't really want to come on. I really didn't. I was on the scoreboards keepers earlier. And I decided to go ahead and come on and discuss a couple of things. How's everybody? Let me see who's here. Let's see who's here. Got a couple of people. Michael Jenkins, peace. What's good? How are you? Michael Jenkins, I got a quick question. It says Master Dawn. Is that Master Dawn in the ceremony? Is that the committee, the Master Dawn committee? Please, if you're in here, please comment and let me know. Of course, we got to give it to my love. We got to give it to Riri. She's my moderator. She's in the building. Scorekeepers are here. Ha ha. The mad geniuses are here. They're in the building. Later on, of course, if you're still in here, I'm going to send you the link because anytime you're here, I would love you to join the platform. Tariq, what's good? Salute to you. You're in the building. JG, peace. What's good? You're in the building. Princess is here. She's in the building. We here. And I love that. I love when family says we here because I love it. I'm probably going to just jump right into it early because I really don't have that much time today. I'm doing a couple of things, getting a lot of things back in order. But I just wanted to start off by saying, listen, you guys, I love you. And something happened today that showed a lot. You know, I joined a lot of channels. And scoreboard keepers, they have shown me a lot as far as research and the value of good research is and why it's needed. And while seeing that, I really realize, it's something that was said before is so true. We don't support each other. We really don't. The valuable information that the scoreboards actually put out, the valuable information that the culture since 71, the grandfathers that we put out are very, very important to our culture. And it's very important that we have our things uh, put down and in writing, and so that we can go back into the archives, and future generations can go back into the archives and get the valuable information. But how can that be done if we don't support each other? How can it be done if we don't have the platforms to actually give this information? We look at what's happening today and don't even realize that our whole culture, our creations are trying to get swept right under our feet. They're trying to take it away. They're trying to take credit for our things. And so if you guys want to allow that to happen, I'll honestly, I'll go by myself and I'll fight a war by myself. But I know that's not happening. I'm not by myself. I know, I have people, I'm looking at you guys, looking at the family that tuned in now. I know I'm not by myself, but one thing that I have to do is that I have to, and which I shouldn't be doing, I have to ask for support, which I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to ask people to put, to throw a couple of dollars in the Cash App or PayPal. I shouldn't have to do that, because the information that we're giving you is information to better us as a people. It's information that's going to lock our code down. See, one thing that we all have to know is that our ancestors, our elders, have left us these codes, and we're the only one that should be able to break these codes. But we have to abide by them. We have to actually use them in our everyday life in order to keep it going. We have to do that. So that's just one of the things that I wanted to say. And that's one of the reasons why I haven't been on here, for a couple of weeks or whatever, because I refuse. It's like, it's so hard. Let me ask you this. This is something that I just personally want to know. If it wasn't for the culture, Michael Wayne TV, a lot of people would not even know about Mario. A lot of people would not know about Bronxdale. A lot of people wouldn't know about the Black Spades. They wouldn't know. But now a lot of the topics are about just those three things and the creation of hip hop. A lot of people wouldn't know. And so during the years, we give this information because we want the next generation and the next generation and the next generation to know the truth. And, like I said earlier today, it's not easy to get a microphone or to have internet or to put up a subscription or any. That's not easy. It's not that it's not easy, but it costs to do that. And just like it costs for you guys to actually get the information and use the information, the people that are giving you this information shouldn't have to ask. They shouldn't have to ask. So that's where I'm going to leave that at. We'll see again. Like I say, I always say it. I say that if the things is not right when I'm finished, I'm just going to take a rest. I'd rather be fishing. I got a nice big lake and pond. I'd rather be camping out, listening to my music, DJing. So there's a lot of things that I could be doing. I'm fixing a car, just a lot of things. So with that being said, I just want to say, people, let's support each other. Let's support each other. Okay, so now let's get into the nitty gritty. Why they want our hip hop. Okay, so let's start about who wants our hip hop. Oh, I see China Black is in the building. I see I said Tyreek already is in the building. We're in the building. Princess, love you. You're in the building. Tyreek, I said that before. Okay. And is Biggs in here? Someone just said something about Biggs. Let's see if Biggs is in here. Is Biggs in here? No, I don't see Biggs. But he should be coming in shortly. If I know. Oh no, there he is. DJ Biggs is in the building. Definitely in the building. So like I was saying, today, I want you guys to actually go back and think of some of the debates that happen in hip hop. I want you to think about some of the debates that happen in hip hop. Okay, so let's start with the most obvious. The most obvious is when Fat Joe said that hip hop is 50-50. I believe Busta Rhymes said that hip hop comes from Jamaican culture. Pete Rock said it came from Jamaican culture. Puerto Ricans say, that it came from their cultures. Okay, so let's think about that. Let's examine those debates. All right. Number one thing is when hip hop was created in 1970 and 1971, let's look at the Bronx. Let's look at the Bronx setting. So you had the poor, you had above poor, and then you had middle class. And when I say these things, I'm not talking about like a great amount of people. We're talking about the Bronx here. So we're talking about those stages in the Bronx in 70 and 71. So let's look at areas. You have the South Bronx, what was basically burnt out by 70, 71, burnt out, abandoned buildings. You had a little bit the Northeast, which was basically middle class, I'm going to go ahead about to say. And then you had parts of the West Side that were considered above middle class. And so that pretty much sums up the Bronx. Now, in the 70s, early 70s, And I guess you want to say 70, 71, 72. Puerto Ricans filled up the South Bronx. When I say the South Bronx, meaning Hunts Point, Prospect Avenue, Simpson Street, Hoe Avenue. These places were basically filled with Puerto Ricans. And those were the neighborhoods that were like the worst of the worst. And to be honest with you, it was really the worst of the worst. The landlords were condemning buildings. The crime rate was tremendously high. The death rate was high. Drugs were high. Mainly heroin, which to me, and I guess a lot of people feel the same way as me, feel that heroin is a drug that kills. And when I say kill, it's like, it takes a lot for a heroin addict to get back right. Crack, it leaves your system after a while, and you can get, cocaine, all those other drugs you can come back to. But heroin was deadly. It was deadly. So heroin was used at the time to mask or get away from reality, get away from looking at the environment that you're in, getting away from realizing that the only way you can eat if somebody gives you a piece of food or something, or the only way you could dress is if you had something and you continued to wear it for long periods of time, or someone again gives it to you. So heroin was the drug that made people escape that. They escaped knowing that they couldn't watch TV like someone else could watch TV, or they couldn't go to the store like someone else could go to the store. Mr. Softy, when Mr. Softy came around, the kids couldn't run and get their ice cream. So heroin was that drug that made them forget that. And in 70 and 71, don't think I'm getting on Puerto Ricans, because I'm stating the facts. I'm stating the facts. Because before 70 and 71, the heroin addiction was in Manhattan, in Harlem, in the 60s. And that's when, the Frank Lucases and Nicky Barnes and all of those people were distributing heroin. So, but we're talking about the hip hop era now. So in the hip hop era, 70 and 71, it basically changed from Harlem addicts to Bronx addicts. And within those addicts, and to need quick money, meaning that after you got a fix, if you didn't get a fix within a certain amount of time, you would have withdrawal symptoms, and you would go through this sickness. So a heroin addict would have to keep on getting this heroin. They would have to get it. And in order to get it, of course, the dealers weren't giving it away free. You had to pay for it. So that's where a lot of the crime started, because, you know, they have this addiction and they need to get this drug. So early 70s and 71, I believe it might have been earlier, but I know 70 and 71 was the height into like later on to heroin in the Bronx and prostitution. So prostitution was based in Hunts Point. Anybody from the Bronx can tell you that prostitution was based on Hunts Point. And they had a strip from Bruckner Boulevard all the way to the water with prostitutes, buck naked, walking in the street, buck naked, all trying to get money to get drugs, all the drug addicts trying to get, you know, a little piece of something or whatever. So in 70 and 71, this was the area that Puerto Ricans were placed. And that's just facts. You know, everybody wants to say, you know, it's not facts, or this might not have happened or whatever. But these are facts. These are something that you can ask elders, or even you might have experienced it yourself, seeing it. And that lasts for a long time. That lasts. They just cleaned up Hunts Point, and they still never could really clean it up. But within a couple of years, you know, it hasn't been the way it used to be. You know, it didn't. They revamped a lot of the buildings. They, you know, so a lot of the area is revitalized in a sense. They took away Spofford though. Spofford's not there anymore. And so a lot of these places that in Hunts Point are actually gone. They're not there. And so the reason why I bring that up is because these were the poorest, under poverty stricken areas. And these areas had the most crime, had the most drugs, and had the most poverty. And these areas are where, I guess, the government or whoever placed Puerto Ricans. And that's just facts. That's facts. So we're talking about 70 and 71 when the creation of hip hop came about. So at that time, for someone to say that they were right there with us creating hip hop, they had a lot more problems to deal with. They had much more problems to deal with. A lot of children's parents couldn't put food on the table. A lot of the kids' parents couldn't clothe them. A lot of kids' parents were on drugs. They had to fend for themselves. And this is basically, and I hate to call it like that, but that's a part of their culture. because it went on from generation to generation to generation. And that's a part of their culture. And so now, as of these later days, if you go back to their culture in 70 and 71, that's what they have. So remember, we were always talking about how we have pictures of the things that we used to do, and the clothes that we might have got, and everybody has a picture of their Easter clothes and what they got for Christmas and everything. A lot of times Puerto Ricans don't have that, and that's something that's real. A lot of Puerto Ricans don't have that, and so they have to try to be a part of that culture, because they really don't want that past. They don't want to be connected to that path. Okay? So, one of the things that they can do to kind of get into the culture is by hanging with us. It's by, watching us, observing what we do and how we do it. And basically, till today, I've realized that is carried on from generation to generation. When you go to a hip hop jam, right? When you go to a hip hop jam today, right? If I'm DJing and I'm looking out the audience, I see mostly us. If it's 100, I see 99 of us, and that's a fact. When maybe you can go to one of their events and it would be the same. You would see more of them than us. So we would not say that that's part of us, because obviously it's mostly them. And so I take a look at that, and I really, really think about it. I say, well, wait a minute, hold up. I do a lot of jams. I do a lot of performances and concerts and stuff. And when I look out in the stage, out in the audience, I see us. I see us. And that's how it was in the creation. When I was behind the ropes, or I was behind the DJ booth, or I was, I look up and I look out and I see us. I see us. When you look at the groups that came up, from the later 70s and the 80s, you'll see us, and you might see one of them in the group. And that's it. So what does that tell us, people? That tells us that we have a culture, we have a creation that people can't create for themselves, so they want to take away from us. They want to take it away. So, okay, So let's look at Jamaicans. Now, you know, Jamaicans and Puerto Rican fashion in the 70s was the same. It was the same. And I realized something not too long ago. I realized something. If you listen to some of Herc's first interviews, you could barely tell that he wasn't from America. He tried his best to talk American. But after everything starts to face and be a part where he's a part of, he automatically goes back to talking Jamaican. Have you guys ever noticed that? If you ever guys really listen to him and listen to the earlier interviews and then listen now, you'll hear. And that's the same exact thing that Puerto Ricans have been doing from day one. They'll come and be a part of us and try to blend in and everything. And as soon as they get that swag, or as soon as they get that thing, then they're repping Puerto Rico. They're saying Puerto Rico this, Puerto Rico that, Puerto Rico. After they came, they got a piece apart, and now they want to go back to saying Puerto Rico. And just like Kool Herc, perfectly. And I want you guys to do that. I want you to go look at some of the first interviews with Herc and listen to how he's talking. He's talking like basically regular. And then, you know, as time went by and he starts getting a little bit of recognition, then he goes back to saying the Jamaican roots. Okay, so let's look at the same thing that we look at the Puerto Ricans. So in 1970 and 1971, you could tell a Jamaican by the way that they dressed. They didn't want to have to say not one word. Not one word had to come out of their mouth. You could look at a Jamaican and say he's from Jamaica, basically, or he's from one of the islands, basically. And just like the Puerto Ricans, what they were doing, and this is something you can research yourself, is they were looking and listening from Jamaica what America had. If you listen to all the pioneers of reggae, they'll all tell you and explain to you how they might have heard on short circuit, long circuit radio, a radio station from Florida or something in the United States. They would hear that. They would hear the blues. They would hear back then soul, and they'll tell you soul. They won't say R&B. They'll say soul, and they'll say you know, they heard this music, and so of course that's something that's inside of them that they want to emulate. And so the same thing with other people, they take that and they'll have a little bit of I guess, oh, how can I put it? They would have like a little bit of something that they might want to add to that, to add to it. But the problem comes from this. This is where the problem comes in with that. Is don't take a whole part of something and just say that we created it. It comes from us. It comes from us. If you listen to all the sound people, and I know, I've talked to them, I know. If you listen to the people that were building these sound systems, what they were saying was that all the woofers, all the electronics, all the things that they were getting, the things were coming from the U.S. So if they were coming from the U.S., that means that the U.S. already had them. How could they come from the U.S. if the U.S. didn't have them already? So we had woofers, we had tweeters, we had amplifiers, we had all of the stuff that built their sound systems. So for all of those people that say that we got that Herc brought the sound system culture to here, obviously is not even thinking it out of what they just said. They're not thinking it out. Fashion. Now, you guys, I know, especially JG. Is JG in here? Yeah, he in here. And he gonna Gary's Garage, what's up? Peace. It sounds funny. It does, because we all dressed a certain way, and it sounds so funny. But remember, if you look at even, old movies or whatever that had Jamaicans in it, like if you look at old James Bond movies and you see Jamaicans, right? You see them with church shoes on, high waters, no socks, and like these disco shirts and these furry hats. Now, this is back in the 60s and the early 70s. You would see this. Like, and I said, go look at an old James Bond movie. I think, was it Goldfinger? One of the movies was in Bahamas, but the other one was in Jamaica. I think the one in Jamaica had the Sprite guy in it. But you look at the people, the island people there, and that's what they had on. They had on these knit high waters, and they would have on, like I said, the church shoes, any church shoes with a heel on it, and usually they were the patent leathers shoes, and they would have these shirts, these tight shirts, just like the Puerto Ricans would have these tight shirts with collars, and they would have, like these furry hats. And just imagine how we dress, and imagine in 70 and 71 when we're going to get dressed up, and a Jamaican is standing next to you, you're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna be like, wait a minute, hold up, what's going on? Why are you wearing these high waters? Why can we see your ankles? Like, where are your socks? Like, what's going on here? Like that was something. And just like on, we were saying today, that had to go a long way. That had to go a long way. What, okay, imagine coming to a new country and people are just snapping on you, and you're gonna feel a way. You're gonna feel like, that's really bad. And that's why. And I noticed this. Listen, I noticed this as an older person now. When you could say something to a Jamaican that's just like a regular, just like a regular joke, a regular snap, they get offended. They get offended, like what, like what the blood clot y'all say, what, and they would really be offended. The reason why they are so offended is because they had to endure that since they came to America. They had to endure the people, the funny looks, the rusty ankle jokes, and all. They had to endure that from the time they stepped off, and that's why. Remember. Right. One of the best jokes was, you just got off the boat whatever. And so they endured that from the time that they would have got off the boat or the plane or whatever. And so that's a deep thought of why it is so intense for them to want to take away something that we consider and they consider a great thing, And then what hurts a lot of them as well is to know that as young kids, that's what hurts a lot of people. Young kids came up with this $1 trillion industry, and a lot of the adults still have not created something that's this $1 trillion industry. Adults. And so they look back and say, well, hold up, wait a minute, hold up. Was these baby spades did something like like that, or these young people did something, and they have this, and they have this culture, and they have this, they have so even hurt if you stop and you go back and you look when they interviewed Herc, and when they were giving, saying and coming to see whatever, Herc forgot about Coke La Rock. Purely, you can ask Coke La Rock. He kicked Coke La Rock to the side. Hard bodies kicked him to the side. And you have to really, really stop and think about it. Coke La Rock is the one that helped him Americanize him, helped him. He wouldn't even have been able to say the word AJ Lester if it wasn't for Coke La Rock. He wouldn't even know some of the last poets of music and stuff if it wasn't for Coke La Rock. But yet and still, he took what his new form fame and excluded him. That has to tell you something. That has to tell you something. So, like I said, you know, imagine if you went to a Herc jam and you saw Herc with these high waters on, no socks, patent leather shoes, long collar, tight nylon shirt on, and a furry hat. And he's DJ. He's throwing on James Brown. He's throwing on these, these things. Imagine that. Imagine that. Then imagine people running to the store and buying high waters and throwing away their socks and getting some patent leather shoes and looking for these collar shirts with the long collar and fur hats. Imagine everybody going and doing that. Okay, so as we know till today, that has not happened. If you guys think that it's happened or y'all know something that I don't know, please put it in the comments, because I never, ever went to the store looking for some high waters. I never went took my socks and put them up and didn't wear them, and some patent leather shoes. I never went looking for these shirts with the collars, and I never went looking for the hats. Like, I never did that in my whole existence. I never did that. But I'm going to tell you something that I did do. I saw somebody rocking a mock neck. I saw somebody rocking some AJs. I seen somebody rocking a blazer. I seen somebody rocking some British Walkers. I'm talking about my OGs, my OGs. You see what I'm saying? I seen them rocking it. I'm there when Black Willie told me, "Come here, booby, come here, smell this." He shot the champagne on me. He put that champagne on me, boy. True. I just turned my whole thing around. All right. So I did that. And people have done that since then. People have done that. I never went to the store and said, "Let me get a record that goes, Aria, la la la, Shikaria dia, Tabada Sada, Akukaracha, no, play Vikamida." I never did that. I never went to the store and tried to look for that record or buy that record. I never did that. I never, went to the store and said, "Listen, give me a pink, orange, purple, green, red, white, blue, yellow shirt. Just give me one of those shirts." I never did that. I never, ever did that. I never had, and you guys don't get me started, but I never had a roach or a rat for a friend. I never had that. Like, I never named a roach. I never named a roach. Like, "Hey, Lupe, Paco. I never named a roach or a rat in my life. Like I never wanted to do that. And I just never did. And none of my friends did or anything, you know. Um, so like none of their traditions, Jamaican or Puerto Rican, did I see was emulated. Like I just didn't see it. So what that tells me is this, that there is absolutely nothing for me in their culture that make me want to say I was 50-50. There was nothing in their culture to say I joined in. I was a part of it. I was a part of their creation. There's absolutely not one thing. If you guys ever saw me in Pair High Waters, shoot me. Just shoot me, because something happened to me. I'm not okay. I'm very bad, and just put me out of my misery. Okay, just put me out of my misery. Okay, because all jokes aside, I just don't see anybody doing it. Now, I must admit that our culture does spread. That's one thing I can say, is our culture spreads. So we might be doing something in New York, and then later on they'll pick it up in New Jersey, and then later on they'll pick it up in Philly, and then they'll pick it up, and so on and so on and so on. That does happen. I know that for a fact that happens. But when that happens, it's nothing that is too foreign for them. Like, so if we're doing something in New York and they get it in Jersey, it's not like it's so far-fetched, like it's not something that might have scattered out there and then they just picked on. It's not like that. But with Puerto Ricans and Jamaicans, it would have been a drastic going from boom, boom, ba-dooba dooba 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 boom, boom, ba-dooba dooba dooba dooba, to boom, stat, scat, kaboom, that, kaboom, boom, that, that, adugu, that, right? And then it would have been something like Maria, Maria, Adada Seda, Ami Maria, to shaboom, kaboom, back, ba-gaboom, ba-boom, boom, ba-boom, back, ba-boom. And that's just total difference. Like no matter what, that's total difference. So just like what I was saying, from the Bronx to Jersey, all right, so they could be listening to Parliament or Cameo or Ohio Players or something. Something that kind of got out of the Bronx, went down there, went to Jersey and went to Philly. And so to them, it's not far from that. It's not far from, from what Parliament and them was doing to what we changed and started doing and started going to. And so that's the change that would not have been a gradual change to, is something that is not too far off. And it's still within us. Put it that way. It's still within us. and it's still a part of their culture, just like it's our culture. It's a part of our culture. Now, we could move to Jamaica, or we could move to Puerto Rico and keep our stuff. Just like see how I'm dressed right now? I could go to Puerto Rico, I could go to Jamaica and keep on rocking just like this, and keep on talking just the way I talk, and keep on listening to the stuff that I listen to. You know, from way back in the days, something I could remember that like wasn't. I would go, like, especially when I went to college. When I went to college, I would come back, or I would ask, somebody from here, my cousins or whatever, my little brothers or whatever, to just put the tape or the cassette tape on record and just record everything, the commercials and everything. And when I got that tape, when I was down there or whatever, and I'm listening to that tape, that was the closest thing that I got to New York. And that listening to those tapes, listening to those commercials, like you remember Crazy Eddie commercial, a Crazy Eddie commercial might come on, or any of those things, New York commercials. They will be talking about a hero, the deli that has the best hero. And I would be like, oh God, I miss home so bad. I miss home so bad. So I could take that and go to Jamaica and wouldn't want that Jamaican custom. I would go take that and go to Puerto Rico, and I wouldn't want that Puerto Rican custom. And that's exactly what's going on, people. They come here and want to change into us. Y'all see that? But we don't go there and want to change into them. We don't do it. And that's the difference between what we do. Is Scoreboard here? Is Scoreboard still in here? If Scoreboard's still in the chat, somebody find out if Scoreboard's here. Let me do something. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. I'm learning this stuff, y'all. I'm learning it. Y'all shouldn't have let me learn this. Okay. So, here. If Scoreboard is still in here, before I go, I would love to invite you up in here, because I'm getting ready to take a couple of comments, and we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap it up. Oh no, hold on, wait 1 minute. I saw something within us, and I saw it firsthand, and I realized something that is very, very crucial to what happens to us. Okay, I know y'all saying, "Faze, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?" But I'm going to get ready to show you something. I am getting ready to show you guys something. A lot of you guys probably already know what I'm going to show you, and you guys have seen or whatever. But I just want to touch this, and I want you guys to tell me your opinions of what was taking place, because there was a lot of things taking place at this particular time. Okay, so here we go. Okay, now I know you guys are saying a lot of things, because I sure enough did. And just this picture alone showed me a lot. It showed me a lot. So now you have Jay-Z, known to be a billionaire, known to have had a lot of hit records, did a lot of hit stuff, married to Beyonce, right? And would have grown up, because he's 60 now. Jay-Z is 60. Like the belief is he's such or whatever. Jay-Z is 60 years old. So he grew up on hip hop. He grew up on it. And if you remember early Jay-Z, he would fit in the culture. He would, and when I say fit in the culture, meaning that he would take a style that someone, that he's emulating or whatever, and he would wear it, and he would show it. And he would show, that he was giving credit to the people that started that or whatever. And I look at this now, and this look, and I say to myself, well, who is he trying to be? What image is he trying to portray? Instead of being an innovator, he definitely looks like he's copying a couple of people I could name. And I'm sure in the comments, I can't see the comments right now, but I'm sure if I ask, who is Jay-Z copying? And I say copying, I mean like copying. Matter of fact, I'll ask that. I'll pose that question. In this picture and from his performance, who is Jay-Z copying? Who is he trying to give the image of? Who is he trying to do that of? In his attire, they say, and I'm not supposed to, I'm not spreading any rumors because I don't know. I do not know. But people close to Jay-Z have admitted and said that that is a wig. A wig. And, okay. But then the dark glasses and the actual, I don't even know what they call those suits anymore, but it looks like just one of those suits that they wear. And I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna because I'm always gonna keep true, be to say the truth, and I'm always gonna voice my opinion. I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at Bones, Thugs and Harmony, right? I'm looking at them. I'm looking at West Coast. I'm looking at like early Eazy-E. and I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at, and it's so, I mean, I'm just going to come out there, and I haven't looked at the comments yet. I haven't looked at the comments, so maybe I should let y'all guys do your comments. I see there's 13 new comments right now, so maybe I'll wait until it gets to 15 or 16 comments, and then I'll say who else do I believe that he's trying to look like, give the image of. So it's at 13 right now. 3 more comments, and I'll say what I said, because a lot of you guys, and it might be in the comments already, but like I said, I can't see the comments right now. But come on, okay, it's 14. So I need 2 more comments, and then I'll say 2 more comments. Now look at, and also take a look. Okay, I got 1 more comment to go. That's it. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the comments. Now, I believe that look is, like I said, Z-Bone, Eazy-E, Bones, but also what the West Coast Mexicans have looked like. And that is something to think about. You know, scorekeepers, they actually first class citizen. What's up, first class? First class says Lenny Kravitz. Okay, hey, let me look at some of these things. Oh my goodness. Okay, so all right. We have hold on. Yeah, okay, so people are just saying Eazy-E or Bone Thugs. Yes, Eazy-E or Bone Thugs. Derek Fox says Afro Man. Okay, so yes, Bone Thugs is the look. Yeah, and Eazy-E. West Coast look. Now, the reason why I brought this up, right? The reason why I brought this up is because, okay. Now, that was his, just a few weeks before. And from my understanding, that when your locks are that locked, a lot of that has to be cut off. Like, there's no way to unlock it. This is what I heard. This is just what I heard. So I might be wrong. But I heard a lot of times they have to be cut when it's that locked. That they have to cut the dreads off. And that's why I've saw many of times when someone cuts their dreads off, they have a low haircut. So for them to take those dreads and unlock them would be, that would be almost, well, I can't say impossible, because anything's possible. But that's my sentiment to it. And like I said, the reason why I bring this up is because the same reason why I'm saying that people get put up to things. So if Jay-Z is the billionaire that they say he is, he can create his own lane. He doesn't have to look the part of somebody else, or look the part of, he could just create his own lane. You know, I remember when I first started seeing Dipset and them start wearing the pink, and they were, bringing back the pink for men and stuff like that. And I said it myself. I said, wow, that they did kind of change the game at that time to where pink was cool for men. They did that. There's a lot of things that I saw that started as a trend, and it went on. But to go back and do something that obviously you can tell, like I didn't even have to say Bone Thug. I didn't have to say that. I didn't have to say Easy. I didn't have to say that. You guys were thinking it right along with me. So what I do realize is that this industry is very, very strange, and it's ran by the same people that is trying to get our culture infiltrated. And this is some of the proof right there. This is some of the proof right there. So you guys, like I said, okay, let me start. Let me do that. Let's go way back up here and start throwing up some of these guys. And that's another thing that I do. I throw people's comments up. I don't get the super chat or whatever, but I do that out of love. Okay, so let's start right now with Michael Jenkins. Okay, Ayo, what up, legendary hip hop icon, pioneer, brother who helped create hip hop from the very beginning? It's your brother, Wisdomatic Master Don, birth name Michael Jenkins, stage name. Okay, so Michael, this is what I want to ask you. There was a record, the Master Don Committee. Is that you? Is that the Master Don that I'm thinking about that had the record? Is that you? Okay, so if that's you, in the comments, acknowledge that. Okay? All right. Now, let's see this next one. It says, gatekeep everything, delinate, separate, and boycott. Okay, but what would we be boycotting? That's the question. What would we be boycotting? Would we be boycotting these Oriental shops that I was talking about earlier? Would we be boycotting the police department that is hurting us and getting away with murder? Who would we boycott, and what would we boycott? What would we be doing? We already tried. I know I did. I don't know how many other people did, but I didn't go to a store for 24 hours. And I didn't, even if I did go to a store, I made sure it was one of our stores. It was something that I had to do. And matter of fact, for that 24 hours, I didn't do that. I just waited it out. I waited it out. So that togetherness would be very rare. Everybody talks a good game. They were going to boycott Walmart. They were going to boycott Coca-Cola. They were going to boycott all of these different things until it's time for you to get something at Walmart, or it's time for you to drink a Coke and a rum and Coke or whatever, So, it's hard saying boycott, because I don't believe that we're at that level. We're not at a level we can't even support each other now. So but this is the thing, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because this is the thing. Imagine if us, I'll just call it like it is, if Freeman, FBA, Black, if African American, if we stuck together and just stopped everything from coming in or whatever, we could rule the world. You saw the Warriors. The Warriors was saying, yo, if we come together, we can own this city. And it's true. Imagine if we just said one day, yo, listen, we ain't paying for the train, we ain't paying for the bus, we ain't paying for the plane, we ain't going to your stores, we not using your internet, we not doing nothing they got pink attached to it. Be shut down. If we said, oh, you killed our young prince, you killed you're Oriental Asian, and you killed our prince, we gonna stop everything that you do. Every Chinese restaurant, every nail salon, everything, bootleg, Chinatown, stop everything for 24 hours. They'd be hurt. And we have the power to do that. But like I said, I gotta pull teeth and threaten not to come on thing just to get a couple of dollars and a cash out. And that's true. Y'all might get mad. It sounds harsh and everything, but that's true. That's true. Man. And then wonder why. I don't know what to call them, but if you go to a lot of these hotels or a lot of these stores and everything, they have this, what they call so-called Indians, they pretendians. And they're from, I don't know, Pakistan or wherever they're from. They come here disliking us. Facts. They come here disliking us, but they stick together. Facts. They stick together. What's good, Tariq? Oh man, I said that already. I short scoreboard. Princess showed Princess. JG showed JG. Come on, you guys. I want to see some questions. Okay. Riri. Okay. DJ Biggs. What's up? Yeah, Biggs is in the building always. Facts. Let's see. Okay, see a lot of shouting out. Okay, Gary. I didn't put Gary up there. I see a lot of, okay, Red Rock. Let's see what he says. What up? I finally hit the PayPal. See? Now, Reg, if you're still here, first I want to thank you. And I want to know if you later in the comments, you could comment now. And when I get a new comment, I'm going to look at it. But do you feel like you got whatever donation that you felt? Do you feel like you got that in knowledge? Let me know that. Let me know, because I feel like if someone gives me some knowledge, it's worth a couple of dollars to me, and that's just me. You know, if anybody shows me or says that, okay, look, this is what we can do to become that power. This is what we need to do to become that power. To me, it's worth something. And that's just me. So I appreciate that, Reg Rock. I really do appreciate that. And I'm going to look in a few minutes and definitely thank you. Who else we have? China Black is saying, oh, wow, see, China is always in there. She's always supporting. She's always in there. She's always giving information. And okay, let's look what Princess says. And they got big because they are rappers with big platforms. That's the key thing. They can reach thousands, many millions of people combined, right? So that's the thing. So we know right this minute, that hip hop wouldn't be hip hop if it wasn't for the Baby Spades, if it wasn't for the Black Spades, if it wasn't for Mario, if it wasn't for Bronxdale. We know this for a fact. We know this. And the problem is that a lot of these big time people know it as well. But they cannot go against the lie, because that would make them liars as well. All those ones that said, oh, well, Herc did this, and Herc was the first one to do this, and Flash was the first one to do this, and Bambaataa was all of that. If they go against it, even Jay-Z said, and a lot of his records and everything talk about Bambaataa and talk about Herc, you know. And I'ma just keep it 100, like. I mean, you know, I never saw, in the beginning, I never saw Jay-Z. I never did. I never saw him at a Herc party. I never saw him at a Bam party, a Flash party, Mario party, a Breakout party. I never saw him. I never saw him. So if you guys, if somebody has saw him, hey, you know, that's I'm glad, you know, that you saw them, but I just never saw him. I never did. Yeah, let's look at China Black. That's why they think the Bronx was majority Puerto Rican back then, because most of them lived in the South Bronx. They didn't know about the rest of the Bronx, and that's true. China Black, you're 100% right. You see, back then, when the mayors and the governors and stuff was trying to get money, just like when you see now, when you see the ASPCA and all of those things, and they show you these dogs that are just being new and just being abused and malnourished and all of that, they're doing that for money. They're doing that for money. When you see these cancer commercials and stuff like that, they're doing it for money. They're doing it for money. So back then, in those days, it was nothing for them to go to the South Bronx and see these burnt out, abandoned buildings and film it and say how bad that this South Bronx is. And they didn't just say South Bronx, they said the Bronx. The Bronx. And that's another thing that, oh my God. See, we as Bronx people, right? We know if someone says Bronx without the or the on it, they're not from the Bronx. They're not from the Bronx. They're not. And so when they did these documentaries and these commercials and things and showed the South Bronx, it was a call for help. It was called for money. It was called to get this. Now, when you look at those things, who do you see there? You see Puerto Ricans, and you see these gangs, and you see the savage nomads, and you see the savage skulls. You see these people in these interviews, and they go and they talk to them, and they say, they get one of the leaders of the show, and they'll say, hey, what is this? How do you live? And they'll tell them how they live and what they have to do. And that was it. So now people in LA, people in South Dakota and whatever will turn on that show and say, that's the Bronx. That's the Bronx. Look at the Bronx. We never go into the Bronx. They kill them up, shoot them up, and everything. And that's how it looked. Yes. So you're 100% right, China Black. That's where that came from. Okay. Here we go. I think I got a response. I've been doing music since the 80s. I began writing songs since I was 9 years old. So I did some things in hip hop on the underground level. I met a lot of superstars, made more albums and CDs. Right. So did you make that one Mastodon record? Hold on. Let me find out. Let me find out what the name of that record was. Mastodon. Hold on. 1 second. Hold on. Let me see. Right, Funkbox. Right. That was it. Hold on, Funkbox. Okay, are you the Mastodon from Funkbox? 19. Is that the Mastodon that we're talking about right now? If that's the Mastodon, then yes, I do remember you. Yes, I am the one that was programming a lot of those things back then, using the 808 and the Alexis HR-17, and yes, and the DMX, yes. So if that's you, Mastodon, go back to the comments and say yes, that's you. Because I do remember that. That's something I do remember. Okay. First class says Bronx is on record for the start of rap hip hop. Yeah. But now let's be clear. Let's be clear that our creation of hip hop was not rap. I think that's what I can actually say. And that's like there's still a difference between a MC and a rapper. There's a difference. I had a list before that said it, and I say some things in the book, but there's the difference between a rapper and a MC. I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. So in the creation of hip hop, we took a little bit from, I guess, yes, we're going to say that we took a little bit of it, but I say for me, in the creation of hip hop, it was more or less, that's a good thing that I got to think about. It was more or less, how can I say it? Wow, you had Flip Wilson that would rap. You had so many people that would rap, and rap is just a style of talking. It's if you got a mean rap, if you got a mean rap for the women, that's just a style of talking. I believe that in the creation, my crew, my people were more interested in saying something where you could hear what we're saying, but you could also hear the beat. You could also hear the beat. So that was our first introduction to what became MCing. Then MCing came along, and it was, you could actually say those words without rhyming, but it was more or less that you said those rhymes and it became like, more interesting to hear what they were saying as an MC. Rapping, and this is just my opinion. Don't think that this is the book. This is my opinion. When rapping came along in hip hop, I think that it had passed the Cold Crush era, the Fearless, the I think it passed those crew MC era and became actually reverted back to like rhymes, like song form. So rap became a song form. So by the time Rapper's Delight came out, it was this MCing in a rap cadence to make a song. In other words, they had a certain amount of lyrics, and then they had the hooks and stuff like that, and so that put it in song form. And I think that that's the difference, that rapping is basically song form. So, it's hard to say that, off the head that you're really rapping, because rapping to me is something that's wrote out, that's practiced and said over and over. But a MC could just come off his head and say some fly shit, and it just it comes off like that. And so that's my difference between rap and and MC. Okay, so I just wanted to say that part of it, and I hope First Class, I hope you see that. Okay. Now, then I can count songs on the radio interviews, music CDs, internet radio. I've been in rap groups and a solo artist. So, Michael, is that I just played, okay, as in Mastodon, and that's what I ask you. That's what I ask you. Oh, no, wait a minute. Hold on. Riri said that. Riri said as in Mastodon and the Deaf Committee, and she asked the question. Right, so that's what we're trying to find out. Okay, that's what we're trying to find out, Michael Jenkins. That's what we're trying to find out. Okay, hold on. Okay, because I see a question here. Who was the first rapper that mentioned hip-hop in a song or a rap? Well, when you say song, you're talking about vinyl, right? You're talking about something that was made into a record, right? And so I would have to say Sugar Hill. I would have to say that because no records before that, even if you look at King Tim III, I got to listen to it again, but I don't remember them saying hip hop. Now as far as Cruise saying it like at 123 or roof, of things like that, tunnel and stuff like that, then I would have to say, yeah, they said that in the 70s, But as far as a song is concerned, a record, I would say the first time that it was broadcast on a record would probably be Sugar Hill. And I hope I answered that question for you, Gary. Okay. Yeah, okay. So I hope I answered that for you. Mastodon, I'm going to get to you in a minute, but I just want to put some of these comments up. Post WW2 is when Puerto Ricans started coming heavy into the Bronx. They were in Lower Manhattan, Harlem, El Barrio. Well, yes, this is correct. But I think even that got kind of tricky. See, because, and oh my God, I know I'm probably going to hear it for this, Princess. I know I'm probably going to hear it for this. But Puerto Ricans were more dislocated than any other group of people. And why I say that is because El Barrio is still Manhattan. It still is Manhattan. And just like everybody else, Manhattan moves pink people to wherever they want to. When you look at Harlem now, the same Harlem where years ago, if the pink person wouldn't come past 86th Street on the train, that was very rare, or they'd stay on the train and they go up like to like Van Cortlandt, Riverdale, something like that. They'll pass right through Harlem. And there was a time like that. There was a time like that pink people didn't stop in Harlem. Like, there was a time where if you saw a pink person on 125th Street, they were with a sightseeing crew. You know, they were with a sightseeing bus, and them and the Chinese, they would be on this sightseeing bus. You know, they wouldn't step in Harlem. And then after dark, no. Now you can go to Harlem and you could see late at night them walking their dogs, walking through, you know, even in the wintertime, they come out with shorts and short sleeve shirts and just walk around, and they grab a bike, get on a city bike or whatever, and just ride around in Harlem. They do that now, you know. And even in Hunts Point, you go to Hunts Point now, and you'll see a couple of pink people in those nice new buildings and stuff. So the point I'm making is that Puerto Ricans were, yes, they started being in Lower Manhattan. They started being in Harlem, and from there, they started being sent to the Bronx, preferably the South Bronx. And that's just facts. Okay, I think I have another question here. Who was the first rapper to mention him about? Oh, you asked me that already, Gary. I told you that already. Okay. Oh, now wait a minute. Hold up. We got Michael Jenkins here, and I'm trying to figure this out. Okay. I have hip hop history in my hometown, Richmond, Virginia, also North Carolina, Baltimore, DC, Wilmington, Delaware, Yonkers, New York. Okay. So, maybe you haven't heard what I was playing again. So let me play it again. See, because this is what we know of Master Don. Okay, so Michael, that's what we know of Master Don. Now, if that's you're a big part of what hip hop has become. You're a big part of it. Because when that record came out, if you were a DJ and you didn't have it, your party wasn't hitting when the record came out. If you didn't have that record, your party wasn't hitting. And Brooklyn, always funky fresh. Brooklyn, always funky fresh. You know, if you didn't have a couple of those records, then, you know, your party just wasn't hitting. So if you're that Master Don, but if you're not, that's okay too. That's perfectly okay. I'm just trying to figure out if that's the one, because I remember a couple of shows that we did with Master Don. Couple of shows. So yeah, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So them speaking as if they were in the Bronx from the start. Heavy is a lie. Right. Yes, Princess. Yes, you're right. So like I said, just like I was talking about Herc, you know, Herc, when he first got here and when he was, you know, before he even came outside, he was getting his English, is the way we talk, down pack. And he also says that he watched a lot of John Wayne movies and stuff, and Westerners and cowboy movies. So if you, oh wow, and I just thought about that. So if you listen to early Herc and you listen to some of those Western, you'll see he had somewhat of that tone of talk. Wow, that's something deep. Yeah, I want you guys to go look at that as well. Oh my goodness. Okay. And yes, she says, facts. Hunts Point was terrible. It was horrible. It was terrible. Oh my God. But this is something till today. If you got your car stolen, right? The first place you would look for your car would be Hunts Point. Am I lying? Am I lying? People that was there know. Am I lying? Back in those days, if your car was stolen, you would go to Hunts Point to find it. That's number one. Number two, if you needed anything for your car, lights, well, anything you needed for your car, you would go to Hunts Point. And that's still till today. That's still till today. You need a windshield, go to Hunts Point. You need a light, go to Hunts Point. You need an alternator, go to Hunts Point. You need a transmission, go to Hunts Point. If you need anything that you need from a car, you go to Hunts Point. And those shops are chop shops that steal cars and sell the parts. Facts. And when you look at them, and you'll see that a lot of that is Puerto Ricans. A lot of, you see the Puerto Ricans on before you get to Hunts Point with the signs, auto glass here, auto glass here, auto glass here. You see them with the signs, and that has been from day one. And from day one, you could tell a Puerto Rican and say, listen, man, I need a battery. And a couple of minutes or whatever later, they bringing you a battery. And this is good. Yo, listen, man. If I'm lying, y'all tell me in the comments that I'm lying. Okay? Y'all tell me in the comments that I'm lying. Y'all say, yo, FaZe, nah, you way off. You way off. Say that and I understand. Okay, first class citizen, Mina, but yet they are in denial of that and tried to tell us we were the immigrants right there. And why were they saying that? Because they want us so bad to take this, to reverse. Wow. They want to reverse it. They want our position and want us to have their position. Makes sense. Oh, wow. I gotta say that. Duh. That makes sense now. I never looked at it that way. They want to have our position and they want us to have their position. Wow. Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, here's Michael Jenkins. It says, these are places I've been and did music on some level. Just to give you a little background about me and music. I started rhyming at the age of 9. Nobody is too old to do hip hop or any other music. Right. Well, you're 100% right. You know, there's people that started rhyming at 7, 8, 9. It's people that started DJing at those ages, dancing a certain way those ages. So I would never, ever, ever say that there's an age limit. I would never say that. So, okay, so far, I'm not seeing that you're the one that made that record Funk Box, which is cool. Like, I'm not, trust me, you've been showing us nothing but good vibes, and showing us nothing but good energy and everything. So we appreciate you same way, but we were just interested in knowing if that was you that made Funk Box, because Funk Box made a big contribution to hip hop. And that's all I'm trying to say, Michael Jenkins. So, we're not saying if you're not that guy that, you have been showing us nothing but good vibes. And I'm sure the whole audience, the whole family can say that about you. Okay. Hold on. I want to get somebody else. Okay. Let me just throw this one. I want to see what First Class is saying. And now we're seeing a repeat of the same BS, aka migrant crisis, with these Venezuelans in our homeland. They always drop them off in our hoods. Sick of this. And they're going to keep on. They're always going to, and that, oh man. See, you guys make me want to actually go into other things when I'm on here. And I know Riri is going to just, Riri's going to come on one day if I'm still on. But, there's a big conversation about reparations. That's all I can say is there's a big conversation. And one of the things about this conversation is money. Money that should be in our hands. Monies that were promised to us that wasn't given. And so that whole debate about reparations is something that, my brothers at BT Power, Be the Power, they're making great strides, can I say, and I'm very impressed with the strides that those guys have made and the knowledge that they know. And I get, kind of look side-eyed by when I say that, a lot of the work that is being done, or it was like the whole agenda has been put off for years. When you look up the 40 acres and a mule, look when that was promised. Look what all the things that were promised. So I won't go long on that, but I just want to say that that's a topic that ties into exactly what's happening now and why these things are happening. Okay, I'm gonna take a few more, and then it's it. That's it. I gotta go. It's 1:55. There's no shame in being poor. Them acting like they're better than us is crazy. True, and that's true. Wow, you just hit that, like, really, like, okay, and that's what bothers me so much. Okay, being poor is not the problem for me. It's not the problem, but being poor and taking somebody else and saying, okay, look, y'all didn't do this, we did this, knowing damn well You couldn't even buy a pack of potato chips. But yet and still, you're saying, oh, that we bought these cars. We had Cadillac cars, and we had 98 cars, and all of that stuff, and we were wearing the furs, and we were wearing the diamonds, and we were wearing the gold, and we listened to this music, and we did that. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Okay, that's about it. Like I said, June 25th in Bronxdale houses, first section, across the street from White Castles, the basketball court right next to Mario's building will be our first originators of hip hop event. And we have Breakout, we have Jazzy J, we have Grand Wizard Theodore. We're going to add a whole bunch more that will be performing, that will be DJing, and it's going to be exactly like a jam that would have happened in 1974, 75, 71, 72. It's going to be exactly like that. It's going to be a real jam. We're going to have people out there, even though they might be a little bit older, but they're going to really be breakdancing. They're going to show what really breakdancing is. We're going to get on the mic and show what the first emceeing looked like. We're going to DJ the records that started this whole genre, this whole culture, this whole thing. We're going to play those records. We're going to do these we're going to do the same things that we did. So if you've never been to a real hip hop jam on July 25th, that's going to be it. So if you miss this, and you don't come, because I know a lot of these people say that they're going to come and they already invited me to other places, but I guarantee you they're not going to come. They're not. And then they're going to hear about it. And then later on, they're going to say that they were there, that they went to this jam and they saw this and this happened and no, this didn't happen and everything because they don't see it or whatever. So this is the chance to actually go. If I come back on, I'm going to put up the flyer because we have a flyer for it. And that's it. That's it. And if PRs were the creators, how come they didn't start off as the first MCs, DJs, B-boys? When you look at old school groups, can we even name 5 early PR rap artists? Can we? I don't think so. Oh wow. Anyway. Let's go. That's it for me, people. Let me find something to put up. Oh man, you guys were going in. Oh man, see, I missed all of that. I missed all of that stuff. Okay, guys, I need y'all to do me a favor. This is for DJ Faze. Do me a favor. When this is over, please, as soon as it's on on YouTube, please go back and make comments. Please, please. So that these comments, because as soon as I finish and I end this live, those comments are going to go away. So I need you guys to, after the stream is over, go back and make those comments. Please go back and make some of those comments, because I'm gonna read them, but you guys are not gonna be able to see them. So please do that. Please do that. And we're gonna see in a little while if I'm coming back or not. The only time I will be coming back is I will be announcing the pre-order for my book, and I will be showing a flyer for July 25th. If things don't go as planned, those are the only times that I will be coming back on. And that's not a good look. It really isn't. But that's what it is. So, you guys, I love you. I love you all. You know that. You know I love you guys. You know I want nothing but the best for our culture. And that's what it is. That's what it is. All right. Peace, everybody.